Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the movie Spider-Man Far From Home. And I really enjoyed this movie. It did a good job of exploring Peter Parker's kind of headspace after what happened in Endgame and the loss of Tony Stark and pivotal Avengers, and just seeing him trying to be a kid. I really like the focus on a younger Peter Parker dealing with high school, dealing with the fallout, and bringing up the stuff of what went wrong, what happened with like the Thanos snap and people coming back, and then just kind of using that in the theme of legacies, and just kind of tying that all in very nicely. So we start off and we see an in memorandum thing, and you see it with like Celine Dion's "I Will Always Love You" kind of thing going on. You're like, wow, this is kind of a weird in memorandum, and you find out it's like the thing done at a high school, and it's fucking. I'm watching it and I'm laughing because I'm like, yep, that's the quality high school does, baby. And we see Betty Bryant doing pretty much the thing with this other kid, and this one dude is like just kind of done with the shit because they're kind of giving him a lowdown of what happened. Of like, okay, everybody did the Thanos snap. It was done like after midterms and everything, but everybody had to repeat the year. Some kids coming back in, and one dude being like a fucking pretty much adult, pretty much at this point, because it's in the future, 2023, and the one dude's like, I just can't deal with this, and Betty's like, stop with your shit, man, stop with it. But evidently, everything's doing pretty well. We see that there's a homeless situation that's been popping up because of the people that came back from, well, they call it the blip in this movie, but the Thanos snap. And I'm like, wow, I love that they're bringing up those threads. I'm like, yes. Now, granted, they are not important aspects of what goes on with the main story of what's happening in this movie, but they are important to be dealt with, and it's nice to see these threads acknowledged and become part of this interwoven story. Because we see Spider-Man go to a function because they were fundraising for the homeless. We see that Aunt May's part of it. He does his whole thing, and they kind of go back and are like, all right, this is great. Happy's dropping off this giant check and all that, and Peter is getting a call from Nick Fury, but he's like, I need to go do other stuff. I want to go on my trip. I'm like, yeah, he's a kid. He fought a universe-ending threat. Granted, of course, big, great power, great responsibilities and everything, but he just wants to go on a school trip with his friends. So he decides to ignore Fury's calls, and he goes out. He gets kind of freaked out because everybody's like talking about like the next Iron Man, what he's going to be doing, and of course those thoughts weigh heavy on him because of how much of a mentor Tony Stark was to him, and thinking about all that stuff, and be like, okay, he leaves his Iron Spider suit, and it looked like it was a washing or like decontamination kind of thing, but he's like, all right, don't forget to take your suit. He's like, I don't want to be Spider-Man on this trip. And they decide to fly out to go into Venice. He's got this whole plan in place to get this glass-made Dahlia, Black Dahlia, because of the Black Dahlia murders. They fascinate MJ, and as they go through their trip, he's going to give it to her on the Eiffel Tower, and hopefully she acknowledges his feelings. They feel the same way, and they kiss. Ned's trying to help that, but throughout the whole trip, it kind of sucks. The seat switching that they were trying to do didn't work out, as Peter is in between the two teachers, as MJ is with this older guy trying to get with her. Ned starts going out with Betty throughout the trip, and I know it would seem like a crazy, stupid thing, but it's done like that because of just the insanity and kind of things that can happen on a trip. So, oh yeah, we're going out. And then you get to the end of it, and it's like, oh no, we broke up. We're older and wiser now. It's like, yeah. Yep, that's usually kind of how that shit works out. But they're going to Venice. They are kind of working around and seeing what's going on. And Peter is able to get the Black Dahlia, and he's kind of talking to MJ and all that, but suddenly out of nowhere this water creature starts attacking, and Peter's trying to help out, but then this other dude pops up, and who the hell is that dude? And Peter does everything he can, but he kind of gets knocked out and beat up a lot. But they are able to stop the water creature, and everybody's hailing the mysterious Mysterio guy as a hero. And of course, Peter gets back to the hotel room. Ned's trying to kind of like figure out what's going on, but he gets trank darted, and we see Nick Fury pops up saying that Peter's a hard man to find, and then he's trying to pretty much give him the lowdown of what's going on, because in the beginning of the movie, we had seen that they had gone to this city in Mexico that had been attacked, and then this earth creature popped up, and that's when Mysterio made his first appearance, saying, you don't want to be part of this. And he's trying to explain the whole situation to Peter, but they keep getting interrupted, and Nick Fury's like, the next person that interrupts us, I'm shooting him. So they decide to go and get into the underground. He introduces him to Mysterio, Quentin Beck. He says that he is from an alternate universe, alternate Earth, and that these elementals, the four elements of air, water, earth, and fire, had destroyed his planet, fire being the strongest one in wiping out everything. And that he is from one universe while this is 616. I'm like, yeah. Loving all the references. But Fury is trying to get Peter involved and wants to help take out the fire one, because that's the last one done to do that. Crisis averted. But Peter brings up a lot of valid points, saying that he's trying to keep his identity secret. If he goes off to Prague like this, it will compromise his identity, like everything, and he just really can't do it. So Fury's like, oh, alright, fine. And Peter goes back thinking, alright, I'm off the hook. And then we see that Fury decided to get everybody diverted to Prague. And I'm like, oh god. And while this is going on, Peter was given these glasses from Fury, from Tony Stark, and he's kind of messing around with them, and they have artificial intelligence, Edith. And we find out that even dead, I'm the hero, is the acronym Tony used for it, but he's got all this thing, it was done for the next Iron Man, and he gives the code, and he's able to have this thing. He almost accidentally kills a classmate going after MJ, because he had been given a suit that wouldn't look like Spider-Man, so that way he could do everything secret, but the one classmate had seen him and the woman and thought that they were getting it on, and was going to use the picture as evidence to give to MJ, but Peter was trying to like take that down, but he sent a drone that almost killed him, but he was able to get rid of it. So they get to Prague, and they're pretty much getting everything set up. They got their plans in motion. They get the rest of his group to go to an opera for the evening, so that way they are pretty much out of harm's way. However, Betty and Ned are pulled out of the opera because Betty wants to leave, because MJ left as well, because she wanted to go tell Peter. So we see the fire elemental pop up. That's a pretty good fight scene. And, of course, Mysterio pretty much sacrifices himself to kind of stop it, but he survives. But during the battle, Peter had hit something and got it thrown into an alley, and MJ kind of picks it up. What the hell's going on? But they celebrate, and Fury wants the team to go to Berlin. He invites Peter to come along, but doesn't really understand. He's using this kid more as an asset. He definitely views Peter as a superhero that needs to be used, kind of forgetting the fact that he's still a teenager. But, of course, Mysterio and Parker have been having kind of heart-to-hearts and said, listen, if you want to go after this girl and live a normal life, you should go do that. And here's like, hey, maybe I'm holding this for you as the next Iron Man, and gives that and control of Edith to Mysterio, and then leaves, and then we see the whole thing's been a sham. And this is probably why I'm really liking this incarnation of Spider-Man in the MCU, because we're getting so many good granted, we've only had 2 rogues, including this one, but they did such a great job with Mysterio, because you make it come off and you're like, oh, he could be a good guy, but it's all been an illusion, and just goes to show how potent of a villain Mysterio can be if handled correctly, just like this, just like Vulture was handled in the first Spider-Man movie. So, he then lays out what he's been doing. He's been faking these and everything, trying to be a hero and all that, and he's got these cadre of ex-Stark employees. He had been pissed off with Tony screwing over his tech, like the whole hologram that we saw called it barf and all that, but he had been fired for being emotional, like unstable. Like, look at what he's doing. And we see one of the dudes that was being yelled at by Obadiah Stane in the first Iron Man movie is part of that as well. And that he's used this whole crew. He uses this one person for practical effects. He uses this one dude to storyboard what's going on. The other one handles all the drones and all that. And now they've got access to this armament of drones, and they can make their illusions even better. So it's like, okay, now he's got to try and do a world threat to make him seem as the next Avenger, that next hero. It's pretty big. However, everything starts kind of going a little bit crazy because he's trying to mess with the drones and figure out what's going on. As we see that Peter gets back to the hotel, everybody's like, "Yay, you're alive! Thank God!" And he goes to talk with MJ, and they kind of walk out, and she pretty much hits him with being like, "Hey, you're Spider-Man." He's like, "No, no, I'm not Spider-Man." But then he's like getting ready to. He was gonna try and give her the Black Dahlia that he had gotten, but they start talking about this, and uh, he of course then starts talking about how, yeah, he is Spider-Man. I was only like 67% sure, and of course the projector that she had popped out, and he was freaked out about the whole cycle and things. Like, oh crap! I did a really bad thing. I need to go fix this. And he of course has to try and go and tell Nick Fury that. And that's of course when Beck finds out that one of his drones is missing and that MJ had gotten it, and that they see that MJ and Peter were talking about it. Of course, Peter is able to get to Berlin, and he is trying to tell Fury, but come to find out it's all an illusion. And these illusions were really well done. I like seeing how they did these different kind of aspects, seeing like a crazy statue of Captain America down, and Beck pretty much used it to see who else knew about it. He's like, all right, fine, I just have to kill your whole class then, since MJ and Ned know that you're Spider-Man. Might as well just take out the rest of your whole class too, and then use it as a train to hit Peter. It's like, holy crap. So Peter is really injured, and the train pretty much takes him to the Netherlands as Beck reroutes his class to London, so that way he can take them out in the same world-ending thing that he was going to use to cement his status as a superhero. So we see that Fury is dealing with that. We see that Beck is doing his whole thing, and Peter's in the Netherlands in a cell, but he's able to get out, and he contacts Happy and tells him about everything. Happy comes down with a Stark jet, and we see it going up in the sky, and him trying to figure out what's going on, and him trying to deal with the weight of what Tony's legacy means, and trying to be this hero, and these failings that he's been doing, and how he can live up to that. I really like how this does Tony's legacy on two fronts: the failures that he has done, which led to the creation of like Mysterio and his cadre, but also the successes on his front, which led to Peter Parker and Spider-Man taking on that kind of mantle and trying to be a hero. And of course, Happy gives him kind of the pep talk about how Tony was always second guessing himself and everything, and pretty much doing the same things you were doing, and pretty much tells him to get in the back and kind of make his own new suit. And then seeing Peter going through and doing things that Tony would do, it was just really well done and really nice. It didn't feel hammy or cheesy or just like this was being handed to Peter. He has earned these things. He has fought these threats. He died and came back from the snap, and he doesn't take these things lightly. And just seeing him kind of go through that, doing that, as Happy turns on AC/DC's Back in Black, which, by the way, I thought since that was playing, we might have gotten a kind of black Spider-Man suit. And I understand we got the Night Monkey one, but I was like, that would be kind of cool. As Peter says, it's Led Zeppelin. I'm like, you're in the right ballpark. You'll get there eventually. At least he likes it. At least he likes it. So he's making his new suit with the whole webbing that we have seen in the trailers and posters. It's like, all right, cool. And he's doing everything to deal with drones and all that as they're going in there. They got their their plan pretty much is for Peter to be able to get inside of the illusions and take him out as quickly as efficiently as possible, while Happy is able to take his group out of harm's way. Happy has also contacted Nick Fury and gave him pretty much a coded message that Mysterio is not good. He's not good, don't trust him, all that kind of stuff. And Fury and Hill don't. And we see that he pretty much was trying to do this world-ending thing as they're trying to draw energy from the core and destroy the Earth. But Peter's able to get in, starts kind of destroying all of the drones. He has also sent drones after his classmates, but most of them get off to a good distance, while MJ and a group of them and Happy are like in a vault with like the Queen's jewels, and it has a pretty nice flow as we see. It doesn't really get boring. There's a nice movement and flow as Peter's pretty much taking on all the various drones and all that. Happy doing a thing like referencing Cap, like how did Cap do this and everything, throwing a shield at a drone. That was pretty funny. But he gets to a point where he's taking on Mysterio, pretty much putting stock in his spider sense, but calling it the Peter Tingle in this film. And he's like going at it, and he gets to where Mysterio is actually at, and Mysterio's getting pissed off because he's got certain drones around him that aren't firing. He's like, fine, take off those protocols that are protecting me. But the thing is, it hits him. They do fire on him accidentally, kind of similar to what was going on with the Green Goblin impaling himself on his own glider. And of course, Peter's able to get the glasses back up, but Beck is severely wounded and dying. And you wouldn't think that would be the true end of it. So he's able to stop the attacks and all that, and his classmates come in. He has a nice moment with MJ as they kiss and all that. It's like, all right, cool. As he gives her the Black Dahlia, but it's broken and everything, he's like, yeah, I'm going to do this in Paris and all that. Seeing him just kind of be a little bit dejected as she then kisses him and all that. And like, yeah, I like you too and all that. And like, oh, that's cool. Their interactions were done very well in this movie. It didn't feel fake or forced. It felt like how teens would be going about trying to do a relationship, especially if one was a superhero and had to deal with like drones and like illusion attacks. But of course, we see that Hill and Fury dealt with their drone as well, and everything worked out pretty well. As they get back, Peter, of course, has his talk with Happy and Aunt May, because evidently Happy thought that they were going out, but Aunt May thought it was just a summer fling kind of thing, so that was kind of funny. We see Peter swinging around with MJ, as that was pretty nice. And then we see in the mid-credits portion that Mysterio's attack is not over, and that his rest of his cadres had escaped. And they uploaded doctored footage to the internet, which is real stuff going on. And how they were able to do it was just nuts, as we see that Mysterio pretty much blames his death on Peter Parker, and that Peter Parker was going to do more damage with the drones and outs his identity as Peter Parker through the Daily Bugle internet show, which is run by J. Jonah Jameson, who is done by J.K. Simons. I'm like, yes, they brought him back. And the thing is, it's now done kind of Alex Jones style. I was like, oh, sweet Jesus, as Peter is sitting on top of like a lamppost in New York, done going, what the? And that's where that ends. And I'm like, oh God, they ended Peter in a pretty damn bad spot. He's in a sticky spot. So we'll have to see how he has to deal with that, when he's gonna pop up in other movies. We're gonna have to kind of need another Spider-Man movie to deal with that. He's got problems with that. But I'm gonna look forward to it. And the end credit scene shows that the Nick Fury and Maria Hill that we've seen in this movie are not Nick Fury and Maria Hill. They are Talos and Soren from Captain Marvel, and that Fury is on a Skrull ship in outer space doing Nick Fury stuff. So I'm like, ooh, what's that going on? How is this planting seeds for like the next phase and everything? I'm like, yay! This was a really nice end cap kind of epilogue structure for what has happened at the end of Endgame and still giving us a very good Spider-Man story. They did a lot of nice interweaving and just all these different threads and giving Spider-Man a nice chapter in his MCU story. And I can't wait to see what they do next. I liked how they handled everything going on with the teens. It didn't feel like those fake teens and everything going on. It felt that Peter was the core. We did get some of his other characters having their own kind of little adventures, but exploring what Spider-Man means to Peter and what he wants to do with his life and how he has to handle Tony's legacy and not just the good aspects, but the bad. This was a really nice movie to explore those things. And then also give us the old Parker Luck at the end as he now has to deal with not just that, but everything else of being outed as Spider-Man and what he's going to have to do to disprove that and try and protect those he loves. So those are my opinions on the movie. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.